How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today we're going to be taking a quick little flight, about 30 minutes, over from Chico, California, down to what is the if I look at nav map, no, it's Lincoln. Lincoln is where we're going. Lincoln, California, just north of Sacramento, and it's about a 30-minute flight, and we are doing this through Virtual Flight Online. And this is one of the last two legs on the USA West Coast Regional Tour. So I've done pretty much everything. I showcased the first flight of this where we had that sketchy landing, which was... I was kind of impressed with myself with that landing. But anyways, we're not going to keep going with that. So, yeah, today we're flying the Cirrus SR-22, and I have been flying this for the just almost the remainder of the tour. If we head on over to our browser here and go, I didn't want to do that. Let's go operations, tours, and events, and not flight school. Let's go back. Regional Tour, West Coast. Yeah. So, there was a couple of them that I did with like the Beechcraft, and the landing was awful. Then I tried this plane out, the SR-22, and I am absolutely loving this plane. It is an amazing plane, super easy to fly. Plus, I get to use one of my joysticks, so that's always fun. So now we are going from KCIC to KLHM. I'm going to go ahead and view this. And there you have the information. 30-minute flight, roughly about 77 nautical miles. And there it is. We're going from Chico down to Lincoln, which is just north of Sacramento. So we're going to go ahead and dispatch this flight out to us. So we are good to go, and we can go ahead and minimize out of browser, and let's get little nav map up here so we can see exactly what we are doing. So here is our flight plan off to the left. We're going KCIC, taking off runway 31 right, and then we got a couple of waypoints in between just to get us lined up, give us a smooth departure out of here. You can see we have a little loop around there. And then down here to Lincoln, we have a nice little loop-de-loop in. It's a little jagged in some areas, but that's okay. But that's going to line us up with runway 33 for our landing. And yeah, so let's go ahead and back up here to... Yeah, here we go. Okay, so we're taking off 31 right. So we can just zoom out right about there, and that'll give me a pretty good look at things. And let's go. We're gonna need to go to ACARS. Get rid of little nav map there. And ACARS is, hold on, there we go. Okay, ACARS, we're going to pull from dispatch. It's got our flight KCIC-KLHM, flight number, and we're only going to be flying at, I think, 3,000 feet is what we have set for this flight. 0 passengers, 0 cargo, and we're going to go ahead and start the flight. There we go. Now, ACARS, we can just minimize that and leave it off in the background to do its thing. Now, let's go ahead and hop inside the plane and get things going. We need to program our flight into the system. We're going to go ahead and turn on batteries 1 and 2. And we'll go ahead and turn our strobe on. And we'll go ahead and kick on the avionics. That way we can...
Airport information, Foxtrot 1500 Zulu. Wind tree 6 at 8.
Okay.
Visibility 10. Sky condition clear.
Let's turn that volume down. We don't need that right now. Okay, let's go to flight plan. And let's go origin is gonna be KCIC. And we'll enter and select our runway, takeoff, departure 31, right. Enter that in. And let's head on down to destination. And this is where we're going to go to KLHM, right? Let me pull up my flight plan to the side here. KLHM. Lincoln. There we go. Go ahead and set that. And our landing runway is going to be 33. Enter that in. Now, our en route, we need to put in a couple of waypoints here just to kind of get us there. 68 CIC. Right? 68 CIC. Red Bluff is right up in here somewhere. We'll go ahead and enter that into our flight plan. And wait, what happened? There we go. Enter that in. There we go. Now it's got us in. And then let's go ahead and actually zoom in just a smidge so we can see what we're doing here. And let's add in gongs. Gongs. Oh, wait a minute. Nope, that's not what I wanted. There we go. And let's enter that in. Then we need OTRU. OT. No. OWTRU. No. I had it right the first time. There we go. Go ahead and enter that in. And then our next one is going to be Hetvo. HETVO. And we'll enter. I keep forgetting you got to deselect the keyboard. And then JIPM. So JIPOM. And then our last one is going to be MUCGOO. Enter that in. Now our flight plan is set. We can go ahead and close that out, and we can zoom out on our map here, and we can see our flight plan is looking good. So we'll zoom back in here so I can see what I'm doing here on the runway. So runway 31 right is where we're going to be taking off. Now, let's actually zoom in over on here so I can see a little bit better as well on nav map. I've got that pulled off to the side. Alright, so now that our flight plan is in, we need to go ahead and get the plane started. And this plane is actually pretty simple to get started. So we already have our batteries on. We got our beacon slash strobe on. Our mixture is going to go to rich. Let's make sure that is there. Throttle all the way up. And then we're going to prime the pump. Let that run for a few seconds. And then we're going to go boost. Bring our throttle down to about a quarter. And start. Boom. And we are up and running. We're going to go ahead and kick on our alternator 1 and 2. Turn our pilot heat on and de-icer. And our nav and landing lights on. And we are set. Now we need to set our altitude. So we'll go to 3,000 feet. And we're gonna come up here, press the CDI key till we get GPS. And down here, we're gonna hit nav and flight director. That way it follows the correct headings. And then we need the ATIS is 119675, which we are on. We'll go ahead and turn this up.
00 Zulu. Wind 286 at Niter. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature tree 2.10.
Just looking for our altimeter.
Altimeter tree 0.28.
3028, we are set, and we'll look at our secondary. 3028.
Runway tree 1 left and runway tree 1 right.
We'll go ahead and turn that back down because we don't need it. And we are ready for takeoff, it looks like. So here we go. Let's go ahead and release our parking brake. I do have the what you call it? The pushback. That's the one I'm looking for, pushback. I do have that mod installed, but we don't need to use it today because we're in a small aircraft and we were facing out the direction we needed to go. So we need to go to 3-1, and instead of going out to the runway, let's go ahead and bump our RPM up here, throttle, so we get going. And we'll adjust our mixture as we need to, which we're only going up to about 3,000 feet, so we shouldn't need to mess with the mixture really at all. Just want to make sure we don't speed down the taxiways. This is quite a desolate little airport, to be honest with you. The flight in was nice, though, going through mountain range and all that stuff. So, yeah, I went ahead and got up to the point to where we only had 2 flights left. So we'll do 2 flights, not this episode. We'll do 1 this episode, 1 another episode. And that'll finish off the USA West Coast Regional Tour, and it should actually, those 2 flights, this one's going to be about 30 minutes, and then the next one's going to be about 30 minutes, and that should hopefully give us the 10 hours that we need for Class D ranking. Once we get our Class D ranking, we can move into some of the other flights, which is one in particular that I know I've mentioned before, that I'm interested in doing. And you know what, we're in a small aircraft, so we're gonna cut right here and take off from this point. All of our lights are good to go. Flaps, we don't really need flaps to take off with this plane. I mean, we could always do flaps, but we don't necessarily need to. Let me just, before we get going here. Alright, just wanted to make sure I didn't have anything up over on OBS. Alright, here we go. Let's get out to the runway and take off. So this should be a pretty easy takeoff. We're going into the wind. Line it up, and here we go, full throttle. Let's go. And we're looking for about 70-ish, 60, 70. There's 70. And we are up in the air. No landing gear to lift up and no flaps to lift up. So we're going to climb here just a little bit. Before we kick on autopilot. Just want to make sure we get up, and we are climbing. Everything's looking good. We'll kick on autopilot. And we will vertical speed. At 1500. That was a bit of a rough departure there. But it was just trying to get us lined back up with the actual pathway that we're taking. Which is a little bit off from what I'm seeing here on the little nav map, which is fine because, yeah, I should have actually added Cuban to the flight plan, and that would have given us a straight out departure waypoint to work with. But yeah, here we go. We are up in the air, climbing on up to 3,000 feet, and we're only doing 3,000 feet because I want to be low enough to kind of show some of the scenery and everything. We got a bunch of farmland out here, and we may pass by some mountain ranges, like this side over here. Look at this. Beautiful scenery. This game is just, I can never get enough of it. I did get burned out on it a while back, simply because I ran out of stuff to do. I was using On Air Company, which is another third-party site that kind of lets you make your own airline, and you can buy and rent planes and all that stuff, hire pilots. It's pretty cool, but you got to pay monthly for it, and I kind of got bored with it. And plus, I noticed it was kind of causing some major lag issues within the game after a while, so I just ended up letting my membership lapse, and yeah. Alright, so we're at our top of climb waypoint, which we were already at 3,000 feet before that, so we climbed just a little bit fast, but that's okay. Oh, we're about to overspeed. Let's back that down just a little bit there, bud. What are you doing? We don't need to go super fast. Let's take it down to about 160-ish, and let's see, if we mess with our mixture, if you watch this over here, you'll see as I mess with the mixture. So we're at 2701, 60%. If I pull it to rich, it's gonna raise it. There's 61. And if I pull it any more, it's not gonna do anything for me. So it's, you know, it's really, let's just go right about there. That'll put us at 2703 RPM, or 2700 roughly, and then 61% power. Obviously, I got the throttle backed off to get us around the 150, 160 mark for our speed. Like I said, we don't need to go super fast. We just need to get there, is all there is to it. So, let me get a sip of water here. And we will hop out of the plane and take a little look-see. It's a little windy. I do have live time and live weather enabled for this flight. Now that I've kind of figured out how to handle this aircraft and everything, and the crosswinds and turbulence and everything, plus I'm landing into the wind. Landing and taking off into the wind, which is a huge, huge difference when it comes to landing. Like my last landing, I had a -9 feet per minute landing rate. Now, it only gave me 80% on the performance because somehow it detected that I went into slew mode, which I never use slew mode. I don't even know how to turn it on, to be honest. So I don't know what happened there, but the one I had before that was actually pretty good too. I think it was like 15 and 100 or something like that. It was pretty good. And there you can see we are making our turn, heading towards, I believe, Ocher is where we're going next. Yes, we are at Gons. And if you're wondering, I'm looking at a little nav map here. Making our turn right there. So let's go ahead. I'll disable that. Alright. Let me get back into plane here because I think I just bumped my throttle up a little bit. I think I did. Let's back that down just a smidge. Don't need to go super fast. It is still climbing. So let's back it down just a little bit more. That should be good. And will our... Okay, we can get 64% power. Yep, about 64% power on the mixture. Now, I used to run it to where it would just automatically do, you know, take care of the mixture and all of that stuff. But now I decided to go ahead and give it a shot as far as controlling that myself. And here is our flight. So actually, let's go into camera mode. Go into showcase, and we'll slow our drone speed down to about 2, or 1 is even better. Get rid of that, and yeah. Maybe we should bump that speed up just a little bit. I need to get a screenshot. Yeah, that looks good. There we go. Got me a screenshot. So go back into camera. We'll go to external. Yeah. Lots of farmland down here. Looks like we got a mountain range up in front of us. Snow factor. This is actually quite flat out here. I thought there was going to be more to see, but look at that. Just look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. That is gorgeous. Another screenshot. Now, I wonder how it would look from the other side, though. And not as good. Not as good. Alright, we'll reset that camera. We'll get back into the cockpit. And I'll bring you guys back in here when we get on up to our top of descent. And there is the airfield in sight right there. We're going to be looping around to get us a nice lineup with the runway, or we could just disengage autopilot and fly it on in, which might not be a bad idea. But I do like being lined up with the runway fairly nice. So I don't know. I don't know what to do here. I think we should just fly it in. Let's just fly it in. Alright, so I'm going to zoom out to about right there. Disengage autopilot. We're going to start our descent. And we need to back our throttle down just a little bit so we don't overspeed. Let's zoom in just a smidge so we can see where we're at in relation to the runway. And we're going to go ahead and turn off VNav and Flight Director. Or not VNav, but Nav and Flight Director. There is the runway that we're looking for. We are slowly descending. So we're cutting our flight plan short just a little bit. So now we are parallel with the runway that we're looking for at the moment. We're just going to keep descending down just a little bit more. I've already got our ATIS. We are at 3026 on the altimeter. Yeah, that's a good view right there. Alright, so we're going to fly this heading just a little bit. I am manually flying here. Slowly descending down about 850 feet per minute. See all the neighborhoods and stuff out here. Very cool. I absolutely love the photogrammetry and Bing Maps integration for Flight Sim. Such a huge improvement to what it used to be. Alright, we're going to go ahead and start our bank around. And we're going to cut this a little bit tight. We're in a small aircraft, so it's okay to do this. Alright, and if we just bank it a little bit more. Okay, we're a little off. Alright, we're at 500 feet. Need to ease it up here. I think we might be coming in a little bit too tight. We're going to go ahead and go flaps 1. And I have the runway in sight. A little bit of lag here. It's alright, just hold our heading. There is the runway. Right there. So we're going to kind of slip it in.
500.
Ease up our speed just a little bit more. There we go. We are lined up with the runway. Overshot it just a little bit. That's okay, we can correct it. Ease up the throttle a little bit more. And we're going to go ahead and kill the throttle. And we have touchdown. Brakes engaged. Beautiful. Zoom in so we can see the map here. I need to zoom in on my little nav map. Never stop on the runway like this, by the way. Alright, so if we go forward and make a right at the next taxiway. Put some throttle here. Let's get off the runway before FAA gets onto us. Yeah, we could have just kept going and exited to the right. That landing may have been a little bit rough. I don't know. We'll have to see what the rating gives us once we turn in the flight to virtual flight. Alright, we are now off the runway. We can ease up our throttle and just idle. Set it to about 1,000 RPM and we should be good. And we can go ahead and full rich our mixture and flaps up. Slow it down so we don't get speeding. Gotta figure out where all the general aircraft are for GA parking. We just come up here and make a left. Should put us into where they are. Or where they should be. I don't know if the flight sim is actually rendering them in right now. Okay, so it looks like we could just park anywhere out here on one of these pads. We're a little far from the building, but that's okay. We could... Yeah, I see some more aircraft over there. Let's just taxi over there. Let's cut through here. Oh, we may have went the wrong way. May or may not have went the wrong way. That's okay. We can go this way. Ooh, hit the brakes. We are moving fast. I don't know exactly what the maximum speed is that we can do before ACARS registers it as speeding. We'll go ahead and cut through all of here. And it looks like we've got some aircraft right up ahead of us here, so we can find us a parking spot over here somewhere. So I'm thinking we got two planes here. Let's just go between them. Definitely don't cut through the taxiways like this. And I think we're just going to spin this thing around here. And we'll park next to this, looks like a Cessna. Right about there should be good. Throttle down, parking brake set. And let's choke out the engine. Perfect. And we'll go ahead and turn off the fuel pump. Ignition off. And we can go ahead and turn off all of our lights, pilot heat, ice, avionics, alternators, battery 2 and 1. And the plane is shut down. So now let's head on over to ACARS. And let's end our flight. There we go. Flight is ended. And we'll head on over to Virtual Flight Online. And let's go to Profile. Nope, that's awards. Get out of there. And we're just waiting for KCIC-KLHM to come up, so give me just a second. Alright, there we go. We have KCIC-KLHM completed. We have a negative 94 FPM on that one for the landing rate. But let's open it up and see. We made everything good here. And we are looking good. So, with that, yeah, I think we're good to go with everything. And that is going to do it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed. And I will see you in the next flight.